divide some rational expressions. So it's fairly straightforward, same sort of thing. X plus 1 over x minus 1 divided by x over x plus 2. Well, when you divide fractions, the rule is flip the second and multiply. So we're going to do x plus 1 over x minus 1 times x plus 2 over x. Now, a little bit of a problem here. When you flip this one, you can't tell anymore that x could not equal negative 2. So you need to write that in right here. So x cannot equal negative 2. And you can't divide by 0, so the numerator of this cannot be 0 also. So if the numerator were 0, then the whole thing would be 0, and you'd be dividing by 0. So the numerator can't be 0 also, but that's still obvious in this part. So we could write x does not equal 0 here, but right now it's still obvious. There's nothing to cancel out. So we write x plus 1, x plus 2 over x times x minus 1, such that x cannot equal negative 2. Okay, so nothing got canceled out in this division, but you still had to write the restriction because the denominator of this divisor could not be 0. Okay, and what about, how about this? X squared minus 5x minus 6 all over x squared plus 10x plus 25 divided by x squared minus 36 over x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay, so we're going to flip the second and multiply, but we're not going to do that until we factored it. So factoring this one up here, well, that gives us x minus 6 and x plus 1. And the bottom, well, that's a perfect square, and that's going to be x plus 5 squared, and then divided by, here's another perfect square, or sorry, difference of squares. So x minus 6, x plus 6, and then for this one, bottom, and that factors to x plus 5 and x minus 1. Now we're going to flip the second. I'm going to move the equal sign over here so I have more space. So x minus 6, x plus 1, all over x plus 5 squared times x plus 5, x minus 1, all over x minus 6, x plus 6, and here we have to throw in the restriction because it's not obvious anymore that x can't equal negative 5 and x can't equal 1. So we've got to throw them in here. X can't equal negative 5 and 1, okay? Because this used to be on the denominator here, and you cannot divide by 0. So now that it's flipped, it's not obvious. And now we can start doing some canceling out. So I'm getting rid of this. Actually, now that I look at this, I didn't have to include this because it's already obvious here. So we can probably take it out of the next step because it's already obvious. So x plus 5 and an x plus 5 here gone. And this x minus 6 and x minus 6 are gone. Okay, so in the next step, we're going to have to state that x cannot equal 6 and can leave out the 5. So x plus 1, x minus 1, all over x plus 5 and x plus 6. And x cannot equal, well, we don't have to put the negative 5 in anymore because it's obvious, but we do have to put the 6 in, and we still have to have the 1 in there. Okay, so x cannot equal 1 and 6. Okay, can't equal negative 5 and negative 6, but that's still obvious. All right, let's do one more here. How about x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x all over x squared minus 6x plus 9 divided by x cubed minus x all over x squared plus 4x minus 21. Okay, so you might want to pause it and give this one a try on your own. Okay, so here, I'm going to factor first. So I'm going to factor this one here. It's a common factor of x. And then you have an x squared minus 2x minus 3. At the bottom, well, it's a perfect square, so it's x minus 3 squared divided by, top here is a common factor of x, and I've got x squared minus 1. And then the bottom, well, it factors to x minus 3 and x plus 7. Okay, and I'm going to put the equals over here so I have more space. And now I'm going to factor the top of this one, which will be, so x times x plus 1 times x minus 3 all over x minus 3 squared divided by x times x minus 1 x plus 1 all over x minus 3 times x plus 7. Okay. Now, at the moment, you can see something that you can cancel out before you even flip. Okay. So I'm going to cancel out one of these x minus 3's here. I'm going to cancel out this one with this one, and then I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to flip the second to multiply it. So x times x plus 1 all over x minus 3 times x minus 3 is x plus 7 all over x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. But now I have to put in the restrictions. Okay? So because you couldn't divide by 0 here, and it's not obvious with this, we have to write in that x cannot equal, well, it could not equal negative 7 here or 3. Now, it's obvious from here that it can't equal 3, but those are going to end up canceling out. So I could throw it in now. So x cannot equal negative 7 and 3. And then we're going to cancel this out here. Okay. And we're also going to cancel out the x, so x cannot equal 0. And we're also going to cancel out this, so then x cannot equal negative 1. So now we write down what's left. So on the top we've got x plus 7, and on the bottom we've got x minus 1. Okay. We have to write down that x cannot equal negative 7, and it could not equal negative 1 from here, and it cannot equal 0 from there, okay, and it cannot equal 3. So a lot of restrictions on this one to simplify it down to this nice statement here. So this all here simples down to x plus 7 over x minus 1.